Welcome to Last Dawn Stories channel. It was 3 a.m., and I woke up suddenly from the bed. My forehead was covered with a fine layer of sweat, and I was breathing heavily. After a few minutes, I finally calmed down. Am I not already dead? The feeling of being bitten by a zombie was still clear. I could even feel my body being torn apart. The pain was really unbearable. I touched my body, which was intact, and sighed with relief, placing a hand on my chest. Did I just reincarnate? Thinking about this, I quickly grabbed the phone on the nightstand and turned it on to check the time, May 21st, 2025. I remember that the zombie outbreak happened on June 17th, because it was the height of summer, and the air was filled with the smell of rotting corpses, making it hard to breathe. So I not only reincarnated, but also returned 1 month before the zombie outbreak. Heaven has eyes, knowing how unfair I died in my previous life, and giving me a second chance, if that's the case. This time I must deploy properly, and live until the day the country completely eliminates the zombies. As a food blogger, in my previous life I managed to survive for 3 months by hoarding the products at home, but in the end, I was caught because I was too soft-hearted and used a drone to deliver food to a family in the neighborhood, which exposed my location and led a group of people to break into my house and take all the supplies, with no food left and the door broken. I was eventually attracted by the noise and dragged into the zombie crowd, and I died. Now I still feel like vomiting thinking about it. Indeed, the scariest thing in the apocalypse is human nature. This time I will never be a do-gooder again. I first opened my phone's memo app and made a list of all the items I needed to buy. After spending more than an hour thinking hard, I finally felt it was very perfect and had no omissions. At the same time, drowsiness started to take over, and I let out a big yawn. Get a good night's sleep first. Tomorrow I'll have the energy to deal with other important matters. I put down my phone, lay back in bed, and quickly fell asleep. In the morning, bright sunlight shone through the curtains into the room and landed right on my face. My brain was forced to start up, and I was a bit annoyed. I quickly opened my phone and added another item to the memo: blackout curtains. I got out of bed, pulled open the almost decorative curtain, opened the window, and looked outside at the traffic and the bustling street, where people were coming and going, greeting each other with kind expressions. I felt a bit dazed, looking at this familiar yet strange scene as if it were another world, and thinking about 1 month later, when the streets would only be filled with abandoned cars and roaming zombies, and people would be fighting each other for survival. I felt sorrowful, but despite that, I knew I couldn't change anything on my own. What I could do was to try my best to keep myself and my family and friends alive, to live until the day when we could see the light of day again and walk on the streets. I composed myself and officially started my post-apocalyptic survival plan. First, I called my best friend Julia and told her I had something important to discuss, asking her to come to my house as soon as possible. Half an hour later, Julia arrived at my house, looking a bit tired, as if she had rushed over immediately after receiving my call, still in her cosplay outfit without having time to change. Susan, I didn't even finish the cosplay convention before rushing over here. You better be serious, or I won't forgive you. Julia sat on the sofa, arms crossed in front of her, looking up and pretending to be angry at me. I went to sit beside her and said seriously, Julia, if I told you that a zombie virus would break out in a month, would you believe me? Julia is a typical girl. I believe she would accept these words more easily than an ordinary person. Susan, are you serious? You called me over just to tell me this? Julia snorted, thinking I was teasing her. Julia, I'm telling the truth. I know what I'm saying might be hard to believe, but you have to believe me. Julia, seeing me look so serious, and with an anxious tone, immediately stopped her playful smile and started to take it seriously. Susan, are you sure? If you swear that what you said is true, I'll believe you. She's my best friend since childhood. No matter how absurd the situation, she always believes whatever I say. I raised my right hand, making a swearing gesture at my temple, and said firmly, I swear, what I said is true. Okay, I believe you, but I'm really curious how you found out about this. Julia asked me in confusion. I had originally wanted to make up some excuse to get out of it, Julia, because the idea of reincarnation was too absurd. If it hadn't actually happened to me, I would never have believed it, but I couldn't think of a good excuse. After showing a troubled expression, I finally told Julia everything truthfully. Wow, that's really cool. Zombies and reincarnation again. Julia didn't doubt it at all after hearing it, but instead looked excited. It seems I had underestimated her ability to accept things. Do you really believe what I said? I felt a bit moved, of course. Friends should trust each other, and from my years of knowing you, I know you're not the type to joke around. Thank you, Julia. After gaining Julia trust, we started discussing the next steps of our plan. The first thing to consider is the issue of housing. It needs to be large enough to store supplies, and also strong enough to prevent zombie invasions. We had thought of renting a villa in the suburbs, building high walls, and connecting to underground water. But considering that although this would effectively prevent zombies from entering, it wouldn't stop determined people, a villa is a big target, and in the apocalypse, it's an excellent place for people to hide. Plus, it has high walls and underground water. If others found out we had supplies, it would become a hot spot that people would fight to take over, and that would surely bring another disaster. I don't want the tragedy of the previous life to happen again, so I gave up this idea. In the end, we decided to stay in this apartment, because I needed to do live broadcasts. I didn't want to disturb others, so I bought the top floor. The top floor has a high safety coefficient, and since it's a one-elevator two-house setup, the neighbor hasn't moved in yet. As long as I lock the fire escape, no one can come up, but the only drawback is that if we want to stockpile supplies, there might not be enough space. That's not a problem, I'll sell my apartment and buy the one next to yours. Acting immediately, Julia quickly contacted the real estate agent to discuss the sale of the house. Julia's apartment is close to the city center, with great scenery, lighting, convenient transportation, and high-end decoration. Many people wanted to buy it. Not long after, the agent called back saying that someone had taken an interest in the apartment. We hurried over and had a face-to-face discussion with the man, but the man saw Julia was eager to sell, so he pretended to be serious and asked if the house's location was bad. Trying to lower the price, Julia bit her tongue and said she was willing to sell at 20% below the market price, including all the furniture, but the condition was that the full payment had to be made at once. The man, hearing about such a good deal, didn't hesitate and immediately signed the contract, paying $2.23 million in full. I had already made arrangements with our agent, and bought the apartment next to mine with a full payment, needing only to move in with a bag. After dealing with the house issue, the next thing was to purchase supplies. We counted our savings, and it came to about 130,000 yuan. We didn't know if it would be enough to buy supplies. If not, we might have to rely on our parents later. We weren't going to tell them yet, first because we were afraid they wouldn't believe us, and second because there was about a month until the zombie outbreak, and we didn't want to cause panic too early. It was already very late today, so we just did some quick washing and went to our respective rooms to rest. The next day, it was still dark and early, and we were already awake, unable to fall back to sleep. So we discussed together whether there was anything missing on the shopping list. After thinking carefully, we found that there were actually many things missing. For example, explosion-proof doors, bulletproof windows, solar photovoltaic power generation systems, and water purifiers, etc. We decided to install these hardware devices first before going out to buy supplies. One reason was that it would be difficult to carry out construction when the supplies were full. And the other was that we were afraid that too many supplies would raise their suspicion, and I am not good at lying. We compared prices online and contacted professionals to install the explosion-proof door and bulletproof window. When they arrived, we repeatedly emphasized that the quality must be up to standard. Don't give me a cement sand engineering, or else, if the fire door is broken through, I won't even have anywhere to cry. Just rest assured, the quality is absolutely top-notch. There's no second one in the whole country, the installation workers assured me with a confident pat on the chest. Seeing the workers' sincerity, my heart finally felt relieved. We added several 10,000 yuan, asking them to speed up the installation. 3 days later, the explosion-proof doors and bulletproof windows from both families were all installed. Before leaving, seeing the installation workers I had been getting along with these few days, I felt a bit reluctant. So I reminded them a few things. Guys, I have a friend who works in confidentiality. He told me that there might be some trouble on the society next month. He asked me to stock up more food and water, stay at home and don't go out. You guys should also stock up, just in case. Okay, thank you for reminding me. I will stock up on food when I get back. Although I didn't know if the workers really listened or were just being polite, at least I had reminded them, and I felt at peace with myself. Then, we also found people to install water purifiers and solar panels, which took a whole day to complete. I remember that in my previous life, 1 month after the zombie outbreak, the world started to have a large-scale power outage. At that time, solar energy would play a huge role. The second month, extreme weather appeared, with temperatures gradually rising. the average daily temperature was over 40 degrees, and sometimes even reached 50 or more. People were suffering from the heat. With this trend, I predict that by the end of October, the temperature will drop sharply, bringing extreme cold weather. Therefore, we not only need to buy all the summer equipment, but also the heating devices. On the fourth day, we officially went out to buy supplies. I was responsible for buying food, Julia was responsible for buying daily necessities. I took a taxi directly to the largest mall in the city and told the general manager what I wanted to buy. Hello, I want 100 bags of rice, 500 cans, 500 compressed biscuits, 200 self-heating hot pot meals, 200 self-heating rice meals, 50 bags of flour, 100 bags of noodles, 20 cases of sour cabbage beef noodles, 20 cases of braised beef noodles, 20 cases of pickled beef noodles, 20 cases of chicken spicy noodles, 20 cases of red oil noodle skins, 100 bags of beef jerky, 200 bags of pork floss, 200 bags of nuts, 200 packs of crispy noodles, 50 packs of candies, 200 packs of chocolates, 200 bags of ham sausages, 200 packs of jelly, 100 barrels of cooking oil, 200 cups of instant milk tea, 200 bags of instant coffee, 20 kilograms of red beans, 20 kilograms of millet, 20 kilograms of seed, 20 kilograms of mung beans, 20 kilograms of black rice. After I finished saying all that, the mall general manager was speechless. Miss, if you are buying in bulk, I suggest you go to the wholesale supermarket. I did think about going to the wholesale supermarket, but the goods there are relatively limited, and it's more troublesome to buy, which would waste a lot of time. It's more efficient to just buy directly from the mall, saving time and effort, even though it's a bit more expensive. Manager, don't worry, I have money, just arrange the loading as soon as possible. I picked up my phone and opened WeChat, showing the manager my WeChat balance. After seeing it, the manager immediately smiled. This big order would mean a lot of commission for the manager. So he immediately instructed the staff to arrange it and even provided a delivery truck, afraid that I might change my mind at any moment, and took me to confirm the order. After paying the bill, I said to the manager, "Manager, please deliver these goods in 3 batches, and the delivery time should be between 11 o'clock and 3 o'clock. Delivering in 3 batches is to avoid drawing too much attention due to the large amount of goods, which might cause unnecessary trouble. Choosing the time between 11 o'clock and 3 o'clock is because it's the hottest time of the day, and people are less likely to go out, which can help avoid being seen by many people. Money can make the devil push a cart." So the manager tactfully didn't ask me the reason and readily agreed. An hour later, all the goods to be delivered today were fully loaded. I counted them again to make sure there were no mistakes, then got on the vehicle with them, at the community building. The delivery man still wanted to help me carry them upstairs, but I waved him off. I told them to put the goods on the ground, I would carry them myself. Learning from my previous mistake, I would never expose the floor again, even if it was tiring and took more time. The delivery man was also so happy that he didn't want to leave. And after moving all the goods to the ground, he smiled and drove away in his truck. I carried the goods in small quantities and in multiple trips. At this time of day, most people were at home avoiding the sun and taking a nap. Until I finished moving all the goods, I didn't meet anyone, which also reduced many hidden dangers for me. The goods today took up half of the storage room. After arranging everything properly, I felt like I had lost half my life. Collapsed on the sofa and was panting heavily. After resting a while, I remembered to call Julia to ask about her situation. Julia said there was nothing wrong on her side, and she was already on the way, arriving home soon. Several minutes later, Julia arrived at the building with the goods. She was responsible for carrying the goods into the elevator, and I was responsible for carrying them from the elevator into the house. 2 people working together makes the work less tiring. We quickly moved today's batch of goods into the storage room, filling half of it. The day's task was also completed smoothly. I and Julia looked at the filled storage room, feeling very satisfied, and the fatigue disappeared. Over the next few days, we moved the remaining goods in batches. After everything was moved, the space in our apartment suddenly became much less. We took a few days off, and at the beginning of June, we started buying the remaining supplies. On the way, I casually told my fan group that I had a dream about zombies breaking out in 2 days, and asked them to stock up on food. Although it was just a joke, quite a few people listened to me and bought enough supplies, which comforted me a lot. First, each of us bought 2 large refrigerators to store meat and some foods that are not easy to preserve. Then we went to the wholesale market to buy a lot of seasonings and a large amount of cat litter. Finally, We contacted the water delivery company to deliver 100 barrels of water to our house, although it was only delivered to the ground floor. A week before the zombie outbreak, we contacted our parents on both sides and asked them to stop whatever they were doing and come over as soon as possible. Because my family runs a pharmacy, I asked my parents to bring all the common medicines from the store, such as iodine, gauze, tourniquets, band-aids, and cotton swabs, although my parents were confused. They could tell from my urgent tone that I wasn't joking, so they prepared everything I asked for overnight and loaded it into the car, rushing over. When they saw all the supplies in my room, my parents were stunned. "Susan, what's going on?" My mom held my hand and asked me, worried that I might have gotten into some trouble. I had already discussed with Julia that once we brought our parents over, we would tell them the truth. I and Julia helped carry the medicines in. And then there was another round of explanations. After a while, my parents finally reluctantly accepted the fact. Then, Julia's parents arrived as well. "Julia, you moved and didn't tell me earlier, and what's going on with your living room? I know you and Susan are good friends, but you don't have to knock down the wall, do you?" The wall of the living room is the place where our two families connect. Since there was still some risk of visiting each other, we just decided to knock it down. Mom and Dad, listen to me. It was another round of explanations. Good Julia, her parents were fond of traveling when they were young and had experienced many things that science couldn't explain, so they quickly accepted it as well. After that, the two families sat together to discuss any remaining issues. Mom and Dad still looked at the problems more comprehensively and pointed out several more issues right away. For example, if a transfer was needed, a vehicle with high capacity and good safety performance was essential. Also, a camera should be installed behind the fire door, so that we could take preventive measures if someone came up. We decided to act right away. Our parents gave us a large sum of money to buy a truck for modification. When we were about to go down, we remembered the SUV my dad had driven, and we asked for the keys to modify it as well. Our parents were in charge of contacting people to install the surveillance system at home. We bought a mid-size van and spent most of the money on modifying the car. We asked to install a protective railing around the vehicle, replace all the glass with bulletproof ones, use the best puncture-resistant tires, and add a spike to the front of the car, leaving the rest to the discretion of the modifiers. The result would be inspected in 5 days. When we got home, the camera was already installed. And my parents had prepared meals for us. For the next 5 days, Julia each bought 100 kilograms of meat and put them in the freezer, then spent day and night downloading various novels, TV series, and movies, saving them to the cloud storage. 2 days before the zombie outbreak, we inspected the modified van and off-road vehicle, and were very satisfied. After returning, we immediately locked the fire exit and made an excuse to get the backup elevator key back from the property management. The night before the zombie outbreak, our two families gathered on my sofa, anxiously waiting for the end of the world. At 5 in the morning, everyone was still watching TV and had no intention of going to sleep. An hour later, people began to get up and go out. We all went to the window to observe what was happening downstairs. But the people rushing to catch the early bus downstairs were walking hurriedly, and seemed normal. "Susan, are you sure it's today that the zombie outbreak happened?" Before Julia could finish speaking, a scream echoed throughout the residential area, followed by a series of screams, and some people started running back. The first one running was a young man, followed by several middle-aged men holding briefcases. However, due to their age and body size, they were quickly caught by the approaching zombies, who bit into their necks, causing blood to spurt out instantly. Then a large group of zombies rushed into the residential area, and the originally quiet neighborhood became noisy. Zombies are sensitive to sound and light, and they quickly broke into several low-rise buildings. The air gradually became filled with the smell of blood. When people realized this, the noise gradually faded, and the residential area fell into a deathly silence. With only occasional whimpers here and there, the people in our room looked at each other in shock. My mother, who had been disciplined all her life, had never seen such a bloody scene before, and her legs had gone weak. My father helped her to the sofa. "The zombie virus has really broken out." Julia looked a bit dazed. I could understand her. When I first saw such a scene, I had the same reaction. I asked Julia to take her parents back to rest. They didn't sleep all night. They must be tired. My father also took my mother back to the room. I stayed Julia in my room, scrolling through social media, watching the news. The zombie outbreak also made it to the top of the social media hot search list. Oh my God, is this so sudden? I didn't prepare anything at all. Who is? At least I overslept this morning. otherwise I would have been one of them. I am in HL High-End Apartment Building 7, Room 902. If anyone has extra supplies, please contact me. I will pay a high price. Good thing I kept some supplies in mind recently after seeing several rabies cases. It turns out, opportunities are for those who are prepared. Hilarious. I just reset. If you can't beat them, join them. The method of turning into a zombie without pain finally came in handy. I and Julia were scrolling through the posts in the topic, feeling both helpless and amused. At this moment, revealing your address is the stupidest thing you can do. You might end up in danger. But the person should have been in a very desperate situation to use this kind of rescue method. All I can do now is pray that he meets a kind person who will give him supplies, rather than someone who wants to take over. At this moment, most people are just trying to stay out of trouble and have no time to care about others. From the moment the apocalypse broke out, money was no longer the currency of the market. Food and water were. Not long after, the official statement was released. A mysterious biochemical virus has broken out globally, spreading through blood. The infection rate is 100%, and after infection, it will rapidly mutate within 5 to 30 minutes. After mutation, it becomes highly aggressive, with strong vitality, and is extremely sensitive to sound and light. The only way to eliminate it is to shoot through its head. At present, all relevant researchers around the world have been gathered to work on a vaccine. Please all residents stock up on water and food. Do not go out and stay at home waiting for rescue. For residents with insufficient supplies, please hang colored flags on the window, excluding red. Drones will be delivering supplies every week. Please don't lose hope. Believe in the country. Believe in our researchers. Let's work together to get through this global disaster. After the statement was released, all local news stations forwarded it. People suddenly felt hope. A resident from the building across the street also let out a cheer. But at the same time caused the zombie crowd below to stir. They broke into several doors of the low-floor residence, and the screams of agony echoed throughout the whole community again. The smell of blood in the air became stronger. No one dared to make a sound. The world fell into silence once again. I and Julia turned off the phone and put it in the drawer. Although we had enough power banks and solar devices, we didn't know how long the apocalypse would last. So we still had to save everything. It was already approaching noon, late June, and the temperature had reached 40 degrees. Although it was hot, we didn't dare to use the air conditioner. One reason was the heavy burden, and the other was the fear that the sound of the air conditioner's outdoor unit might attract zombies. We live on the top floor, so we don't have to worry about it. But those living on the lower floors might have a hard time later, although I can't be a savior. At least I shouldn't let others' lives be lost because of my own actions. I and Julia laid a bamboo mat on the ground, then turned on a silent fan. Gradually, the sweat on our foreheads disappeared, and we didn't sleep all night, so we fell into a deep sleep one by one. The night gradually descended, and the whole city shed its usual prosperity and beauty. Looking around, only a few solar-powered street lamps remained standing, and at this moment, it seemed like a dead city. Fortunately, we installed blackout curtains and soundproof glass. After installation, we tested it several times, and the effect was very good. Normally, turning on a light, speaking, and cooking didn't cause any problems. My parents came to wake us up. Dinner was ready, and they called us to come and eat. After sleeping on the ground for several hours, when we got up, both I and Julia were sore and stiff. We stretched for a long time before feeling a little better. We went to the kitchen, and both our parents were already seated. The meal was simple, one meat dish and one vegetable dish. If there wasn't enough food, we could just eat more rice. However, on the first day, no one had much appetite. The whole meal, everyone had a gloomy face, and hardly touched the food. I understand everyone. Various complex emotions intertwined and pressed heavily on our hearts, and I have experienced that feeling myself. After dinner, I invited everyone to the living room for a small meeting. Mom and Dad, Uncle and Aunt. Although we are safe now, I suggest we still take turns on duty just in case. I have decided, I will Julia take turns on night duty, you take turns on morning duty. I will take night duty tonight first. This is the walkie-talkies we bought before. Each of us will have one. If there is any situation, we can notify quickly. I gave Julia the walkie-talkies, and taught them how to use. The usage of the walkie-talkies is simple. Everyone mastered its functions in a few minutes. After the meeting, I asked everyone to go back and wash up, get a good sleep. Then I made a cup of coffee and went to the balcony. The right side of the balcony was previously used to place the washing machine, but the washing machine is noisy and cannot be used at this time. So I sold the washing machine at a low price and turned the right side into a small desk for the computer to display the surveillance footage of the fire escape. And above it is a storage cabinet with several packs of coffee and tea for staying alert. I turned the left wall into a bookshelf, filled with various books to pass the time during duty. I put the coffee on the computer desk, then took a copy of Victor Hugo's Les Miserables back and sat down. The window is privacy protected. I turned on the eye-friendly desk lamp, and I only dared to adjust the light to medium level. The night was terrifyingly quiet, with the zombies downstairs occasionally letting out low growls, then wandering aimlessly again. It was a peaceful night, but because I often stayed up late doing live-streamed e-commerce, and with the stimulation of caffeine, I didn't feel very tired. At 6 o'clock, my father came to take over, and I made him a cup of tea before going back to my room to take a nap. I woke up, and it was already noon. For breakfast, everyone finished the leftover dishes from last night. I didn't make it, so I went to make a bowl of instant noodles to fill my stomach, then turned on the downloaded TV series and watched it eagerly. After eating, drowsiness came over me again, and I ran back to my room for a nap, but I didn't sleep for long before being woken up by the heat. After that, I had no more desire to sleep. I opened my phone and saw that the temperature had already reached 45 degrees. And since we were on the rooftop, the temperature was even higher. I went out and saw Uncle James on duty on the balcony. Even though a fan was blowing directly at him, his back was still slightly damp from sweat. I remembered that I had specially iced 2 ice balls in the refrigerator last night, and I took them out, along with a grape, and brought them to the kitchen. I took 6 cups from the sterilizer, added 4 ice balls to each, then washed the grapes, juiced half of them, and evenly poured the juice into the 6 cups. Then I added an appropriate amount of syrup, peeled the remaining grapes, removed the seeds, and put them in the cups. After stirring well, I had 6 simple iced fruit drinks ready. I first gave a drink to Uncle James on the balcony, hoping it might slightly relieve his heat. Then I went to my parents' room and gave them one as well. Finally, I went through the hole in the living room to Julia's house, and gave the drinks to Julia. Susan, I just told my mom how terrible the weather is, and you already sent me a chilled drink. You must be a worm in my stomach, and it's so delicious. Julia took a big gulp of the drink. Susan, thank you. You even made drinks for us to cool off. If only our Julia could be as responsible and capable as you. After saying that, Aunt Lily looked at Julia sitting on the sofa with his legs up, drinking the cold drink and watching anime. Julia, feeling a bit frustrated. By the way, Susan, do you know when this kind of weather will end? I'm not too sure, but it will at least last until the end of September. So long. Seeing Aunt Lily's somewhat dazed expression, I quickly comforted her. Aunt Lily, don't be discouraged. At least we have sufficient resources and family by our side, right? That's already a great fortune. We should believe in the government. There will definitely be a vaccine eventually. As long as we persist, we will win. That's right, Mom. Since your daughter and husband are by your side, what are you worried about? Just eat well and sleep well, and be happy. That's enough. After hearing our comfort, the gloom on Aunt Lily's face finally disappeared and was replaced with a smile. I felt relieved. Sometimes mindset is really important. I thought Aunt Lily, who had experienced so much in her life, would be more optimistic about this situation, but instead, it was my parents, who had always lived a stable and orderly life, who were happily watching family dramas in their room. 1 month after the zombie outbreak, the global average temperature reached 45 degrees, 50% of the population was infected, and the world began to experience widespread power outages. People were suffering from the heat. Although supplies were dropped every 3 days, the weather was getting increasingly hot, and many people couldn't bear it any longer, choosing to end their lives on their own. 2 months after the zombie outbreak, global transportation came to a standstill, and there was widespread water shortage. The country began to implement plans to eliminate zombies, but due to the huge number of zombies, the effect was not significant. The number of flags hanging in the community had decreased significantly, and the air was filled with a strong smell of decay. There were also more zombies downstairs. The scorching temperature combined with the nauseating smell of decay in the air caused people's appetites to drop sharply, and it was visibly noticeable that they were getting thinner. Fortunately, we had bought some vitamins, which could help replenish some nutrition. 3 months after the zombie outbreak, the temperature reached 50 degrees. In the middle of the month, the drones that used to drop supplies never appeared again. The neighborhood was filled with cries, and more people could not bear it anymore and chose to end their lives. Some bold ones went to other buildings to scavenge for food. those with good luck got a lot, while those with bad luck became food for the zombies. Hearing the screams from downstairs, we sat together without saying a word. 4 months after the zombie outbreak, early November, the temperature dropped suddenly to 20 degrees, and then decreased a few degrees every day. By the end of the month, it had dropped to near 0 degrees. We also took out the thick blankets from the wardrobe, laid several layers, and put on wool sweaters and thick coats. 5 months after the zombie outbreak, the temperature dropped to 15 degrees below zero. Solar power could no longer provide electricity, but with enough warmers and warm clothing, we managed to get through it. The good news is that zombies seem to dislike the cold, and they started to migrate south. Most of the zombies downstairs followed the group southward, leaving only a few scattered ones. The bad news is that, because of the reduced threat from zombies, many residents began to go out from their homes to look for food in other households. Those who survived until now must be people with some skills, so we must be on high alert during this period. Fortunately, for several days they only scoured downstairs, perhaps because they were dressed heavily and moved inconveniently. Climbing the stairs was too tiring, so they did not come up to our top floor. We could at least take a breath of relief. A few days later, the government used the radio to lure the scattered zombies to the suburbs and eliminated them altogether. Using this method, the few remaining zombies in the north were basically all eliminated, and the government resumed the provision of supplies. So those people did not go out to scavenge for supplies anymore. On the eve of the new year, water and electricity were restored. We turned on the television, and a few TV stations had resumed work, simply broadcasting related reports every day. 8 months after the zombie outbreak, through the cooperation and efforts of world leaders, the zombie tide heading south was completely eliminated. When the TV stations reported this, the whole city and the world erupted with deafening cheers. We hugged each other, crying with excitement. On February 25, 2024, the world crisis was officially declared over. I looked at the few remaining supplies in the house and sighed with relief. Indeed, trusting the government, trusting the country, and never losing hope was never wrong. After hearing the first story above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Next, let's continue to see another similar story. When I found out about the coming apocalypse, I was worried about my sister who was alone at home. And I went back to find her despite the danger, but my sister looked at me and the zombies chasing me in fear, and kicked me out of the door. Sister, you were stupid when you were in school, and you still haven't learned any sense, right? If bitten by a zombie, you will get infected. I was so worried I almost cried. Sister, it's other people's blood, I'm not injured, come out quickly. She was hiding behind the door and locked it from the inside. Who do you think you're fooling? More zombies were coming, and I felt my flesh being torn and eaten, my desperate screams gradually fading away. She was crying inside and said, "Brother-in-law, my sister was bitten by a zombie. I don't know why she won't come in. She keeps pushing the door. I can't open it. Come save my sister." I opened my eyes again and found myself back before the apocalypse. The pain of being bitten and eaten still seemed to be in front of me, and I woke up in a cold sweat. Sister, come on, there are a lot of summer jobs on your side. I promise I'll come and clean every day, and I definitely won't mess with your things. I was like this in my past life. My younger sister in her first year of university said she wanted to come to my place to find a summer job. I am currently living with my boyfriend, and it would be very inconvenient for her to come. But thinking about how lonely she is in her hometown, and how lonely she is at school, I still let her come. After coming, she never actively looked for a job and just stayed in the room playing games. I understood that she was tired from studying and didn't press her much, instead giving her some living expenses, telling her to buy whatever she wanted to eat, and promising to take her out to play once I finished this busy period. Before I could finish my busy period, the apocalypse came, and zombies ran rampant. I could have left with my colleagues from the studio, but thinking about her being alone at home, I mustered the courage to go back alone to find her. The road was full of dangers. I dodged zombies, picked up weapons, lost my phone, lost my keys, but I never gave up, thinking about her safety. She was playing games when my shouting interrupted her, and she came to the door in annoyance. After opening the door, she kicked me out. Leaving me to cry and shout in despair outside, she confronted me inside, asking why I was so bad, why I went home even after being infected, saying I had always been stupid and had no brains since childhood. Sister, why haven't you been talking? Are you okay? Mom and Dad have agreed that I can come visit you. My thoughts were interrupted. My sister is the only one in our family who went to college, and she has always shown a different smartness from me since childhood. Mom and Dad have been working hard outside to earn money, and they have always felt guilty about leaving her alone at home to study, and they have always granted her every request. As for me, my grades were indeed not good, and understanding the family's difficulties, I left school after junior high and started to make my own way. Watching my sister go through school step by step, I was proud of her, and I would occasionally send her some living expenses. Knowing that Mom and Dad didn't think carefully, I even took full responsibility for her college computer, phone, and clothes. We two were dependent on each other when we were young. To me, she was not just a sister. I thought she felt the same way. Okay, come then, I'll buy you a plane ticket. Taking the high-speed train is too tiring. Older sister is the best. I hung up the phone. Apocalypse came. The family was small. The school had teachers' protection, only here. People were familiar but the place was not, but it was lively, just like in the previous life. I told my boyfriend about this and asked him to stay with a friend for a while. He was an orphan and envied people with brothers and sisters, so he smiled and said he wanted to go with me to pick up his sister and welcome her. During dinner, my sister kept her head down. I understand. People from poor families are usually more reserved. And I also gradually changed that personality after I left home for a long time, but I remembered the phone call she made when I died in the previous life. Sister, we are all family, don't be afraid. She slightly raised her head and smiled gently, then averted her eyes and turned red upon seeing Harry. That's why after that day, Harry never mentioned wanting to see her again, and even joked that men should avoid their mothers when they grow up, and women should avoid their fathers, so he, as a brother-in-law, should also avoid his future sister-in-law. Harry gave us a ride home, and my sister kept asking Harry what he did for a living. Last time, I thought she was concerned about me, so I told her everything in detail. This time, I didn't have the patience. Tomorrow I have to go to the studio to work. You can look for a job online yourself. My sister was playing games and nodded absent-mindedly. For several days in a row, she spent all her time in bed, and the house was in a mess. You've been here for a few days, but you don't go look for a job, and you don't even clean the house. She burst into tears when I shouted at her, how do you know I didn't go out? They only hire long-term, and all my classmates are arranged by their families. I know, it's because I installed a camera at home. I scolded her, and the next day she complained to her friends, my sister is so useless, after so many years. She can't even arrange a job for me. Instead she scolds me. Moreover, I suspect the job she's doing isn't a proper one. She only has a junior high school diploma. After working for a few years, how can she afford a car and such a house? She's not a mistress, but I guess it's not very honorable. Otherwise, why won't she talk about her boyfriend? And she never lets me tell my parents. I listened to the voice from the camera, and really thought she was heartless. Sister, after such a long time you still can't find a job. Do you want to come to my studio and help with nail art? It's easy. You can learn to make basic styles without any problem. She was eating takeout and was very surprised. That's just a service job. My hands are for writing. I can't do that kind of work. Don't think you can make me lower my standards to do those things. I took the summer job to improve myself, not to waste time, youth, and energy on those trivial things. Is that so? But it's precisely these trivial things that have gradually improved my life. I used to think she was just odd because she was alone in her hometown, and not good at expressing or communicating. Now it seems she's just consistent inside and out. I rented a small villa in the suburbs of the neighboring city, and the entire outer area is reinforced with bulletproof glass. After renting, I also changed all the important passwords and door locks, in the event of an apocalypse. Such a place can not only protect against zombies but also against people. My savings are not much, and an apocalypse is coming in half a month. After selling the car, I bought some gas equipment and food, and even the household supplies. I packed up to secretly deliver them over. Sister, if you take all this, what will I eat? Molly blocked me. The studio just hired 2 new girls. They don't have much money to buy food. I thought I could help a little if I could, but I am your younger sister. I also need help. I laughed. Then go be a girl too. That night, my parents came over from the neighboring town. My sister sat on the sofa and cried. Mom, I thought once I came here, sister would arrange a job for me, but after coming here I couldn't find a job, and I couldn't sleep at night because of anxiety. Sister even said I should go be a girl, otherwise she wouldn't give me food. I've been eating instant noodles these days. My living expenses are all gone. Sister never said she would give it to me. Mom played the peacemaker, pulling her and saying, okay, Okay, don't cry anymore, or you'll cry your brain out. Your sister is not smart, she can't study well, her whole life will depend on you. How could she not give you living expenses? She usually spoils you more than us, right, Snow? Dad drank some tea and tapped the table. Molly is the first college student in our family, it's our duty to support her. She's young, and she was alone in the hometown before. She doesn't know how to deal with people. As an older sister, you should teach her, not force her to do that. I sat on the chair, pretending to look at my phone. I couldn't focus on a single word on the phone for a long time. When I first came to my parents' side, they were also poor. We lived in a small single room, and I slept on the ground with a curtain pulled for a few months. I told them I regretted it and wanted to go back to school. My father was smoking, and my mother remained silent. The next day, with my friend, we had 200 yuan in total, and we went to a bigger city to start working as a waiter. I still remember the first night. We didn't have money to buy a blanket, so we covered ourselves with the mosquito net from the dormitory. No day off. We stood for at least 12 hours a day, so tired that we fell asleep as soon as we lay down. Here, I learned etiquette, learned to endure hardship, learned to read people's expressions, and learned about social conventions. That's why I empathize with another sister who might be like me, always trying to act ahead of her so she doesn't have to suffer the same glares and hardships I did. In this way, Snow, check if there's any management work in your studio that your sister can try her hand at, so that when she comes out, she can help you. Dad was negotiating. I'm really useless. All the harshness I've encountered over the years couldn't compare to the coldness caused by a single kind word from my family. No wonder, before Harry came, my parents had already found her, wiping away the bloodstains I had written on the door, covering up the fact that they wouldn't let me in, comforting her that it was just a momentary mistake, and that she wasn't really a bad person. Harry, a bodyguard, after hearing what they said, took them to a safe base, as my last words before dying were that they should be safe first. They couldn't control Harry, and instead he became suspicious. Eventually, they lured him into a zombie swarm. I sighed. The studio isn't running smoothly, and I am indeed worried. I don't have much money recently. Mom and Dad lend me 5,000 as my sister's living expenses. I'll pay you back when I earn money next month. Don't be angry, sister, that's all I can do, but you are different. You are the hope of our family. These stupid jobs outside are indeed not suitable for you, so just take the 5,000 and stay at home to study and improve yourself, or go and have some fun around. I'll come back to accompany you once I finish my work. Mom and Dad's expressions improved, and my sister also lifted her chin proudly. Don't worry, sister, you are the only sister I have. I will repay you all the kindness you have shown me in the future. I have actually found an online part-time job. It's one-on-one tutoring, and it requires a relatively quiet environment. You being here might make it hard for me to work. Seeing this, Mom and Dad asked, you said the studio has a bed to sleep on, right? For the sake of your sister, you should go and live there for a while. I shook my head. The environment there isn't that good. I'm not used to living there. Dad immediately turned angry. You used to sleep on the floor before. How can you say you can't sleep well? Your sister finally found a job, and you, as her sister, don't even support her. Ah, well, then, I was just wondering how to explain my disappearance these past days. I made a compromise. Although my parents were reluctant to part with the 5,000 yuan, they came up with it for the sake of long-term development. Citing the hot weather and the risk of heatstroke, the studio took a week off. I reminded my colleagues that they could take this opportunity to go back to their hometowns to see their children. Myself, went back to the safe house I had been preparing for half a month, counting down the arrival of the apocalypse. Soon after, the alarm rang, and news of the zombie outbreak spread online. Molly's phone call came in. Sister, where are you? It seems like there are zombies outside. Come back quickly. I'm scared. I asked. Zombies? What zombies? I'm outside meeting a client. Be good and don't cause trouble. After hanging up, I turned on the surveillance and watched her panic. Sometimes she would press her face against the door, looking out through the peephole, and sometimes she would open the window and go to the balcony. A muffled biting sound could be heard, and she cried as she crouched in the corner. Dead Snow, bitch Snow, had her head kicked by a donkey. I told her it was a zombie, but she didn't believe me. When was she bitten by a zombie? I'll see if she believes me then. Mom, Dad, please, I should have known I shouldn't have come here, all because, Snow, if she hadn't bought me the plane ticket, I wouldn't have come here. She thought about it and picked up her phone again. Dad, Mom, please answer the phone. she kept calling, and kept calling, and kept calling. She never thought that zombies would find survivors by sound, if her parents' phones were not on silent. This repeated calling would bring them what kind of danger? After half an hour of calling, the sound of biting in the corridor started, and the sound of door slamming was continuous. She trembled as she stood up, looking at the scene outside, and was terrified. She wiped her tears and said fiercely, "Snow, you yourself didn't believe it. If I die, you won't be okay either." She laughed mockingly, and my phone rang. "Sister, I'm so scared, there really are zombies." Her scream almost shattered my earphones. "Sister, why aren't you talking? Are you still alive?" I played the recorded biting sound to her. When my soul still had consciousness, I had heard that the zombies could identify the sound of their companions and would consciously gather towards the source of the sound, even if it was very faint. This recording was synchronized from a voice recorder I had previously left in the downtown mall. I pretended to be anxious. "Sister, I saw it. There really are zombies. There really are. How are you? Have you been staying in the house? Don't come out, okay?" she said excitedly. "So, sister, you're coming to find me?" "Yes, I'm coming here with people. It might take a while to get back. You listen to me. Stay at home. Don't go out. Don't come out even if someone calls you. You're a girl at home, and they might not be good people. Do you understand?" "I understand, sister. Be careful." Soon after the zombie outbreak, the military and community workers gathered survivors to the safe zone. There wasn't much food stored at home, and if she wanted to survive, this was her only chance. I hung up the phone, drank a cold drink, and ate hot pot. Mom and Dad's call came in. Maybe it's not them who would kick me out, maybe because they have already lost a daughter, so they instinctively protect another daughter, I thought. As long as they care about me once, I would tell them what to do. "Snow, the zombie outbreak has occurred. Your sister made many calls but couldn't get through. Were you with your sister? If you are not with her, you need to find her right away. Do you understand? I and your mom are escaping with the factory people. If you find your sister, we'll agree on a place to meet. If you don't find your sister, your mom and I will go find her ourselves." "Snow, Snow, I'm talking to you. What are you doing? Eating?" The other end immediately got angry. "You still have time to eat. You don't know if your sister is alive or dead. Do you have a heart? Do you have any humanity?" I muttered, "Don't worry, I just called her on my way back from outside, and I told her not to open the door. There will be no problem." "That's better. Your sister is not like you. She's timid and kind. She would never dare to fight zombies. You have to take good care of her, after the world is peaceful again. Such a smart child. Will definitely make a big achievement, but okay, there's no but. Don't eat anymore. Hurry up and go get your sister." Beep beep beep. They hung up the phone. I told my sister not to go out, and also prevented my parents from trying to find her. Even for Harry, this uncertain factor, when I was at home, I never took my phone off me. She couldn't find his contact information. She couldn't call him to save her. I have also contacted Harry, who was on a business trip in another province. Told him I was safe, and asked him not to come back at all. "Sister, this time, I kicked you out." Soon, it was dark. She gradually couldn't hold on, calling me one after another. I didn't answer any of them, only sent a text message. "Sister, don't call me anymore. I'm about to go to the city and I'm having a bowl of braised rice to regain my strength. If you call again, you'll kill me." After typing, I put on a sleeping mask, turned on the air conditioning, and fell into a deep sleep. Midnight. The phone screen kept lighting up one after another. I didn't sleep well. I picked it up and took a look. Everyone from Mom and Dad and Molly. "Have you found your sister yet? How can you, as an older sister, have no conscience at all?" "Sister, I'm about to starve. I also want to eat a bowl of rice with braised pork." I turned on the hidden surveillance. There's still food in the kitchen. She's used to eating in the canteen and ordering takeout. Upholding the concept of never touching a drop of clear broth, she wouldn't even make herself a bowl of noodles at this moment. She just wants to rely on others to get things ready for her. Okay, then starve to death. Bitch, bitch, bitch. It must be my fault for taking her place. That's why she's not coming to find me. Once I find my parents, I'll definitely report her. Zombies are meant to clean up society's trash. People who score just a few points in math have no right to be alive. Look. She's not a child. She knows everything. She's just taking advantage of being younger, constantly comforting and bullying me. She knows exactly what is beneficial for her and how to do it. The broadcast sounds, reminding the living to gather at the safe base. It's only been 3 days since the end of the world. many people are unwilling to go out and take risks because they still have food stockpiled at home. Indeed, not every group of people can safely reach the base. This made more people give up going out. Molly is making calls more frequently. Sister, hurry up, I'm really starving. If you don't come soon, you'll have to come and collect my body. After saying that, she hung up the phone first. In the surveillance footage, she was eating a steamed bun, watching a drama series, and at the same time cursing me. She treats me like this. After I graduate, you won't get anything from me. We can just stay out of touch. She's of no use at all. At least I met a big brother through gaming. He'll save me. Let the sister have a taste of failure. She was talking to herself carelessly, occasionally replies to her brother's WeChat with a sore throat. Yes, my brother is the best. I believe my brother will definitely come to save me. When her parents scolded her for being useless and not finding her sister, they went to her house themselves. The sound of someone knocking on the door rang out. Molly, are you in there? We kept calling you but you never answered. We're really worried about you. We're here to pick you up. Open the door. Molly listened for a while, then cautiously peered through the door. At first, she didn't say anything. The alarm clock rang, and when her parents heard it, they thought something had happened to her inside, so they knocked on the door desperately. Old man, hurry up and figure out how to break the door open. She's always been timid. What if she passes out inside? Who else is going to save her? Her heartless sister. The sound of beating on the door quickly turned into crashing, then into kicking. Molly, watching the zombie's movement pattern below the balcony, muttered under her breath, "Are you trying to kill me? Making so much noise, you'll attract zombies from other buildings, and that makes you feel good, right?" Molly's parents outside immediately stopped when they heard her voice, both crying and laughing. "Ah, Molly, thank goodness you're still alive. Hurry, there are more zombies coming. Open the door for us. We'll think of a way to go to the safe zone together." Inside, Molly hesitated, and finally opened the door just a little bit. "Dad, hurry in." She quickly pulled her father in and then shut the door quickly. "You little kid, you closed the door, and your mom is still outside." "Yes, Molly, there are more and more zombies coming to this floor. Hurry and open the door." Molly firmly blocked the door handle. "Dad, wake up. It's already the end of the world. It's survival of the fittest. Your mom has always been in poor health, and there's not much food at home. She won't survive in the apocalypse." Her father slapped her hard. "She's your mom, isn't it, because she took care of you two sisters?" Molly was slapped. She looked at him with a resentful gaze and coldly said, "Okay, then Dad, you open the door." Her father glared at her. "You really have been spoiled by your sister." He reached for the door handle, and the door opened slightly. His body turned outward. "Hurry, get in." "Ah, all the same." Molly kicked it. Then he slammed the door against the foot that was blocking the door. I heard a woman scream. "Molly, what are you doing? This is your father. If you keep slamming like that, your father will get hurt." "Old man, hurry up and pull your leg back." Boom, the door finally closed. "Ha ha 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 ha." She laughed loudly while looking at the door, covering her face. She mocked, "It's just because you let me come out of your belly, then left me in the old home without any care. I made it this far on my own. You, a lowly working old man, have no right to hit me." "Dad, what's wrong with your head? Why is your head bleeding?" "Molly, Molly. You hurt your dad. Hurry up and open the door. I'm telling you, this is your sister's house. If you don't open the door, your sister will never take care of you again when she finds out." Molly locked the door from the inside, angrily put on her headphones and continued playing the game. A man's voice was heard outside first. "You should go find a house where no one is around to hide in. My legs can't stand up. I'll only be a burden to you. Leave me alone." I said, "Leave me alone." The tapping sound is getting slower. "Don't be afraid. I'll call Snow. She definitely won't ignore us." The man mused for a moment. "Call her. At least Molly won't die. She always listens to her sister. Don't mention me to her, otherwise she might feel resentful and refuse to help Molly." "Okay, I understand." My phone rang. "You little brat, we've found the door, but you're not home. Do you know that because you weren't home, no one opened the door, and your dad was bitten at the door? If it weren't for you, why would your dad get into this situation? If you still have a conscience, come back and pick me up right away." Your father, he." My voice is hoarse. "What happened to him?" "Snow, listen, I died because of you. If you don't protect your mother and sister well, you will be betraying me, betraying our family." My tears fell on the phone. My father's scream echoed. "Did you hear that, Snow? Your father is gone. Your father is gone." They always seem to know how to make me feel guilty, how to manipulate me. The third day I stubbornly went to work as a server. Mom called and said Dad was riding his motorcycle around at night looking for me, and he hurt his leg. I advanced a month's salary to send home, only to find out he had gone fishing by himself and didn't see the road clearly. Dad complained that my sister spends too much and doesn't know how to save money. He wants to cut her living expenses and let her suffer a bit. I remember the hard times we had in the countryside when I was young, and I transferred money to her without letting her tell my parents. Molly always talks about how everyone gives gifts to their parents on Father's Day and Mother's Day, and she wants to save money to give one too. I was worried she might have a hard time at school, so I only let her buy some practical items. Meanwhile, I took my parents to choose gold myself. It's obvious that on others, I understand everything, but why? Just because it's family, love, I get blinded and deafened. Snow, can you hear me? I wiped the tears on my phone. So be it, I'm dead. My phone was thrown far away, as if it contained the secret of how I killed them. I comforted myself. It's not my fault, I just didn't help them. But you clearly knew Molly's nature, yet you still didn't speak up. Don't they know? They know more than you do. Why can those who kill live in peace, while I am the one suffering? 10 days later. The whole country lost power and water. I can't find out Molly's situation. 1 month later, Harry came to the address I sent him. Snow, he called out softly from outside. According to my previous budget, these foods wouldn't last long. This zombie uprising is expected to last for a year. I have been hiding here all along, and if anything unexpected happens, I have no means of self-defense. 3 minutes later, I opened the villa door. He let out a sigh of relief and hugged me tightly. You're safe. Come on, let's go north. The order there will be restored faster than in the south after the weather gets colder. He took my hand, and not far away, there were a few armored jeeps parked. He didn't ask me why I was there, nor did he ask about my other family members. I told them to take whatever was useful inside and get in the car together. Auntie, good. He said these were all his company's colleagues, many of whom were former soldiers, so their physical fitness was good, for an entire month. I had never gone out. This city was full of corpses, and every place was emitting a foul smell. All the people in this city had already left a day ago. I was scared that when I came, you might have already left. He gripped my hand with uncontrollable strength, making me feel pain. The first time I met him, I was still working as a server. He worked as a bodyguard, and got beaten. I gave him a box of iodine swabs. The second time we met, I was deliberately picked on by a guest. He came over and coldly said, Jack, the boss told me to tell you, if you make him wait again, you won't be working here anymore. Before leaving, he turned around and smiled, showing a tiger's tooth, playing the tiger's authority. Thanks for last time. I don't know what love is. We were just two lonely, loveless little animals warming each other. What are you thinking? He tightened his grip on my hand again. If it weren't for me, if it weren't for Molly, he would definitely be like that too. He had his own brothers and the ability to protect himself. He didn't have to drag 3 people who would only be a burden. He was born with nothing, but he died carrying a heavy load. You're really good. He raised an eyebrow and smiled, showing that same canine tooth. Then who else should I be good to, if not you? On the way to the safe zone, they dealt with a few zombies that drifted by. There was a section of the road that was especially crowded. I heard that familiar voice. Bro, I'm a college student. You'll regret leaving me behind. Damn it, what's this college student nonsense? I'm a bachelor from the early 2000s, and I didn't say anything. You're just a common junior college student. What are you yelling about? If you keep, I'll just throw you into the zombie pile. Do you believe me? But bro, I'm already yours, right? It's better for me to accompany you on the way. You're as stiff as a log, and you're not even good looking. If there weren't so few women left, I wouldn't even glance at someone like you. Harry stepped in front of me silently. Come on, there are so many things like this in the apocalypse. We can't handle them all. I don't know if he clearly knew that was Molly. I know she is. She had a dirty face and was wearing a ragged top and shorts that could just cover her body. Okay, let's go, bro-in-law. I was knocked away. Bro-in-law, I knew it was you. She hugged Harry. Damn it, this woman, she can't keep her feet when she sees a man. Brother, I'm sorry, bro-in-law, don't you remember me? I'm Molly. She didn't even notice me next to her, still talking to herself. Get lost. What do you want, you old man? Molly cried and shouted, and the zombies nearby also heard the noise. The man came over and grabbed her. Go away. What do you want, you old man? Molly cried and shouted, and and the zombies nearby also heard the noise. She covered her face and cried, "Brother-in-law, he's been bullying me. Please help me, brother-in-law." The man pulled her back. "What's with all the yelling, you slut? Who is your brother-in-law? Didn't you see there's already someone next to him?" Molly looked up. When she saw me, her eyes first showed resentment, then she crawled over and hugged my feet. "Sister, is it really you? Mom and Dad said you were dead. I didn't expect you to still be alive. Sister, it's so good to see you." I clenched my fists and asked, "Where's Mom?" She turned around and pointed. It's him who said Mom was useless and fed her to the zombies." "Sister, you have to tell brother-in-law to kill him." The man immediately pulled out his knife and said, "What are you talking about? It was you who said that old woman was a burden and left her behind. I tried to help you, but you wouldn't let me. I thought you were a stranger, but it turns out she's your own mother. You really are a great college student." Molly stood up to hit him. "You're lying. It's you who wanted to take advantage of her. She didn't let you, so you did this to her." "Sister, it's really him who killed Mom." "Okay. What about Dad?" She turned her eyes. "Dad died when he came to look for you. Why didn't you open the door?" She nervously pulled Harry's hand. "What door, sister? You said you would come to look for me but never did. I almost starved to death at home. Why do you question me like this when we meet, brother-in-law? You also said that the most important thing between sisters is to be understanding and supportive, right?" Harry pulled his hand back. "I'm sorry, I don't know you, Snow. I remember your sister didn't look like this." He forcefully pulled me into the car. Outside the car Molly was shouting, "There, Snow, you clearly recognized me but didn't help me. Your parents would never forgive you if they knew. Snow, I finally understand you. You only invest in me when I'm useful, and now that it's a chaotic time, you just abandon me. Surely you're just a parasitic vine that clings to men. And you've slept with all the men in this car, otherwise. How could a stupid high school dropout like you get into university?" The man directly used a dirty cloth to cover her mouth. "Damn it, I've never seen such a stupid person. Stupid and bad. I don't know how you got into university." Harry held my hand. "Her appearance will only harm you. You can blame me, but I won't let you two get involved anymore." I closed my eyes. "I understand." He pressed my head against his shoulder. "In the future, you will have a better family. A family you choose yourself, Mom. I thought, after Dad's incident, you would wake up. I didn't expect that I would still have to help her in the end. This is what you chose yourselves. Don't blame me." After arriving at the safe base, Molly was there too. "Sister, it's nice to see you again." This time, she was dressed in a flashy way. "Molly, why did you come here?" "The leader asked you to write the report." "Damn, did they see what happened that day and bring her back? They must be planning something again." There are two factions in this safe base, the new group and the old group. The new group is led by Harry, and they want to go north, while the old group, led by their so-called leader, wants to stay here and wait for the government to restore peace. The leader is afraid Harry will take all the useful people away, so he deliberately brought back Molly and spread rumors about how this brother-in-law and my sister abandoned him, lowering his reputation and making people afraid to follow him. As soon as we arrived, we received strange looks from everyone. The ordinary people in the base don't have much entertainment, so they have someone read Molly's reports. There are 3 in total. My sister said she would come to save me, but she got into the man's car and left me behind, asking who I was. My parents died in the zombie attack, calling her name as they died, but she was having sex with a man instead. My parents died in the zombie attack, calling her name as they died, but she was having sex with a man instead. My brother-in-law is ruthless, not allowing my sister to recognize her lonely sister, forcing her to get into the car to do things she doesn't like. "Sister, I've told you before, my value is something you can't compare to. No matter what era, I can make it big. Some brothers don't have women, you can go serve them." As for Harry, he was on his knees begging me, "I can let her stay." Molly raised her head, her long nails scratching my face. Molly raised her head, her long nails scratching my face, having a beautiful face, but no brain. What's the use of that? I kicked her in the abdomen. "How dare you hurt me? Here you go." In the early days of setting up the studio, I learned editing specifically for promotion. The base has electricity generated from solar power. I charged my phone and reviewed the surveillance footage. 2 hours, edited Molly how she was two-faced, how she abandoned her own mother, and how she hurt her father, her mad curses, her obsessive slamming on the door, all echoed in the base hall. Who would believe the story of such a person? I and Harry left the safe base in the middle of the night, heading north all the way. He patted my shoulder and said, "I know, for someone who has had it, making such a decision is hard, but compared to what she did, we're just paying her back in kind. If they were someone else, you would never have given her a chance to hurt you. Yes, he whispered beside me, I'm glad this life, I found you. In the previous life, Harry was pushed into the zombie horde but didn't die. He waited until the day when order was restored. Molly became a hot topic in cultural circles with a few short articles. One of them praised the family love and romance during the chaos, saying that I painfully closed the door, sacrificing my life to protect her. And Harry carried out my last words, but after escorting them safely to the base, he himself went into the zombie horde for love. She killed us, yet she still drank our blood after we died. This has always been her strength, that man, a target of everyone's hatred who came out of prison. He will never let go, Harry coldly said. A year later, order restored, I and Harry started over again, settled in the north, and became each other's family. One day, I met someone I had seen in the base before. He told me Molly had lied to everyone, caused public outrage, and was personally chopped up by the leader and fed to the zombies to calm the people's anger. I threw up, but I was told I was pregnant. Harry held me as we watched the sunset. Snow, we haven't read much. And we both had unfortunate childhoods, but our next generation will definitely not be like us. The new era has begun, and the past should stay in the past forever. That's all the story. What do you think of this story? Share with me in the comments section. What would you do if you were in this situation? Looking forward to hearing from you. If you liked this story, don't forget to like it, share it, and subscribe to my channel. See you next time.